Trae Young, Justin, is probably the worst of our last 2 years in the postseason. First, Miami, he had the impossible task of all by himself trying to beat them. And now versus Boston, we're seeing it again. The question is Trae Young going to bounce back, or is he going to continue stumbling backward?
Man, I think we know exactly what Trey Young is. I don't think there's no regression or progression. I think what he is now is what he's going to be. I think we've seen it, and Atlanta needs to stop thinking that this is going to be their number one star, and they need to start investing in. I don't know. Try and go out there, get yourself a Jalen Brown, or get yourself another number one, because Trey Young could be an absolute stud if he was complimenting somebody else. You know,
Mm.
so if you take that pressure off him, I think he can do fantastic things, and we saw what he was capable of in that playoff series against my Knicks. The he has star moments, but all in all, he can't be that number one guy. And we've been talking about this since the beginning of the season. What that Dejounte Murray trade would do for them, and it's clear, not enough. We said it wasn't enough then, and it's not enough now. And it
Mhm.
doesn't seem like that's a team that has gelled completely. So you need to find yourself that star, because Trey Young isn't going to be that guy that you can rely on when you need to go deep into a playoff series. He's not going to be that guy. What he did that one year was fantastic, getting to the conference finals. Nobody saw it coming. But yeah, you shocked everybody. It was a year after the COVID stuff going on. First time, people were allowed back in the stands for the playoffs. It was a different NBA. Now everybody's back in the fold, and now you got to adjust, Atlanta. That says you got next move in the offseason, because you're not getting by Boston. You know it.
Um, yeah, I still do think Atlanta can win a game in Atlanta. They're going to home for the next two games now. So in terms of Trey Young, I mean, first off, he needs to stop trying to be Steph Curry, because he's not, and I think he thinks he is, and I think a lot of people have told him he is. So it's listen, he's a complete liability on the defensive end because of his size. It had nothing to do with it. If he was taller, maybe he'd be a better defender, but he's not. So you got to live with what he is. I do want to give a shout out to DeJounte Murray, who John was, kind of slicing last episode. He had a
He's hitting the threes.
hell of an effing game. 29 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, 4 steals, only 3 turnovers, 11 to 24 from the field, and 7 for 13 from the 3-point line. That's a hell of a game. John Collins and Trae Young really screwed him. With that performance, Atlanta could have won that game if Trae Young and John Collins came along for the ride. And with the rumors now coming out that apparently Atlanta is kind of getting tired of Trae Young. He's becoming a headache for them. They want him out. I think he is probably on his way out. I agree with you, Justin. I think he's a perfect complement. I just don't know who that person is. I feel like because of his defensive liability, you definitely can't put him with somebody who like a Luka Doncic, who's also not very good defensively. You have to put him with somebody like maybe a Joel Embiid or something. And even then, I don't know if it works that
And
well.
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis would be great too. But yeah, it all depends on fit. I just don't. It'll be interesting where Trae Young ends up, because I actually do think it's over for him in Atlanta. And isn't it interesting? I forget what draft they were in, John, Luka and Trae.
2018.
2018. We all know about the trade. It could have easily been Luka in Atlanta and Trae Young in Dallas. And they decide, everybody, said after the trade that it was kind of a perfect match made in heaven. Trae was meant for Atlanta and Luka was meant for Dallas. Now the headaches are coming out. Luka could be wanting out of Dallas. Trae could be wanting out of Atlanta. How history could have changed and how differently things could have,
And Shea, the one who actually got traded during his career, is the one who's pretty happy in Oklahoma City. You know what? So here's the thing, Brent. You guys made the point that Trae Young could fit off another star as sort of a 1B or a 2. And I don't know if he can. When he is not on the ball and he's playing off of a DeJounte Murray, I can't be the only one that notices he just doesn't move without the ball. And he's kind of just a statue, quite frankly. He's already undersized and struggles to get downhill. So now you coincide that with really bad habits. Defensively, you're talking about D'Angelo Russell. I think Trae Young is a compelling case as the worst defender in basketball.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
a true wallflower that as the point guard, your sole responsibility is to be the first one back on defense. And man, there are times when it's like a 2-on-1 and Trae at 6 foot, this is the analogy I make. I want you to imagine James Harden shrinking 5 inches and losing 60 pounds, and that would be Trae Young. So if Harden was already viewed as a terrible defender, imagine what Trae Young is on that side of the ball. And he's so reliant on free throws when he's not getting them. For his career, in the playoffs, Trae Young has played 23 games. You know what he shoots from 3-point in his 23 games? 28%.
Well,
So
shit.
I kind of made the take. I think Darius Garland on the Cavs, who had a quiet game one performance, but a really good game two, is a guard I would rather have because he's a much better shot maker on the ball. He shoots like 40% from three for his career, damn near. He's also a much better defender and a way more willing and capable off ball player that attacks closeouts with will, is a rapid decision maker, and with Trae, the ball sticks in his hands. With a Darius Garland or a Tyrese Halliburton, these younger guards that I've hyped up, the ball is always connecting, flying around. But with Trae, what his teammates often didn't like, especially outside that playoff run where he did give the ball up sooner in possessions, is that while Trae may be an assist artist, he gets a lot of assists in pick and roll. He doesn't allow his teammates to work much off the ball, mano a mano, and it's really just him hold on to the ball for 15 seconds before passing out to them at the end of the shot clock, and they're not in rhythm. So, Trae Young to me is one of the most skilled floor raisers in the league. But to win a championship, I don't think Trae Young will ever win a championship. Don't think he ever will. I just don't think he's unselfish enough. And maybe that changes. He's still young. He's 24 years old, but he's taken no steps forward and from a habit standpoint. And it's funny to me, like, no one really cares about this, but this was a team people are hyping up as a contender, myself included. If Cam Reddish, who they got in the Trae Young trade, became what people expected as one of the top 3 recruits from his high school class. But, with Trae Young, it's a matter of the Hawks deciding what will get us back to the conference finals sooner. Trae Young, what we're going to get by moving on from him.
Yeah. I do think that Trae Young can win a championship. I don't think he'll win a championship as a number one. That book has been closed. But yeah, I think Trae Young is done in Atlanta.
That's why they leaked the report. You'll notice they keep leaking these reports, and one of them was right before the playoffs.
Right before the playing game.
Right.
And Trae Young, I don't remember if he didn't have a very good game, but he played okay.
Actually, he didn't play well, but he
didn't shoot well. He didn't shoot well.
Unselfish.
Yeah.
He's unselfish. The shot make it's not too big of an issue for me. I just want to see you working off the ball a little bit.
But yeah, I agree. I agree with you, I would take Darius Garland over Trae Young. Halliburton, I would just I understand your high praise for him. I would just need to see him on a winning team and in the playoffs for me to say, okay, I've seen him do it. Yeah, sure.
I think Halliburton has all the makings to become a playoff superstar. The second he gets in there, he's going to make some noise. He's a fantastic player. But before we go to a different topic on Trae Young, I know you said he needs to change, and I really hope he does, for the simple fact that you've seen guys like Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook that don't want to take different roles, that see themselves only in one specific spot and don't want to adapt. And don't be that guy, Trae. Do not, because if you can learn to adapt, you can play among some of the biggest stars in the game and cement yourself in NBA history as one of the best, Robins to be known. But you can't do that if you don't make that change. Like John said, you can't be standing still when the ball's not in your hand. You got to be moving. If people want to call you Steph Curry, if you see Steph Curry playing off ball, that guy's running races around dudes whenever he doesn't have the ball in his hand, moving around screens. Trae Young, we know he can shoot the lights out. If he can add that to his game, the ability to move off ball and allow somebody else to create,
become more efficient.
Yep.
Nelson,
because they're a shot maker.
So this is perfect, right? Because you said Russell Westbrook. Before this run of last 2 games, right? I would agree, or actually the Clippers run, to be honest with you, I would agree with you. But I would say more Carmelo, yes. AI, yes. But Russell is showing me something. This bleeds right into our next topic. If we are rethinking any of the playoff first round series after game 2s, real quick, because I want to hit on this. There was a series, right? And Justin, you had left the show before me, John, and Romain got into a topic. the Clippers and Sun series. And I tried to make a point, Justin. I don't know if you watched the segment, but I tried to make a point. And I got cut off pretty relatively quickly. Basically laughed at. Basically told to be quiet. You don't know what you're talking about. And then at the end of it, I said, you guys didn't let me get to talk, but it's fine. We'll just wait to see how this series plays out, right? And I just have to say, I feel like maybe the ones who were talking should have, not been talking and opening their ears a little
bit. You want to know why we cut you off?
No.
What he said to
you're
us?
going to say for that reason, but you misinterpreted what I said. I didn't say that.
What do you say?
You thought I said that, what you interpreted what my saying was that Norman Powell is on Devin Booker's level. I said he can score with him.
He can't defend with Devin Booker.
He has not been. Okay, I understand he has not been in the last 2 games, but they haven't even needed him. All right. And that's not 100% his fault. I think he should honestly be getting more of a role in the offense. I don't know why he's not, but listen, that doesn't matter at this point anymore, because basically what I didn't even get into is happening in front of my eyes, right, in this series.
Are you going to get into your apology too?
What apology?
After you go.
No, what apology? Because I wanted to. What is this?
No, because you had something to say, but I was curious to know.
No, I didn't have anything to say.
Was included in what you had to say. Oh, you didn't.
Apology?
The apology is for Russell Westbrook, my friend.
100%. I'm gonna say, and listen, don't try and be slick, okay? Don't act like all 3 of us didn't. This is one where I am not crazy that we did not all agree Russell Westbrook has not been an effective player. Okay, we all did.
Effective player right now.
Yeah, but now I'm talking back then, okay? When we were talking about this. When he was he's the worst 3-point shooter, one of the worst in the league, inefficient from the free throw line, missing his shots, a turnover machine. Russell Westbrook has been absolutely killing it right now, right? And he's accepting a role is what I wanted to get into, Justin. Why I say don't mention him in that breath for right now, because he has started to accept a role of, and it's so awesome to see, because he's realizing before his eyes that, wait, I do have another 5, 6, 7 years of great basketball just in a different role. Like, I can evolve now. Now you can be effective, because I feel like we've all know, like Russell Westbrook has never been known for defense, right? Never. He doesn't really try. I think we all thought he's capable. He's got the athletic ability. He's got the hustle. We know on the offensive end, he doesn't cheat you, but defensively he can. He has shown you that when he wants to, he can be a high-level defender. He can be a nuisance. I mean, the amount of times in game 1, especially, a guy would kind of get past him and he'd be able to knock the ball out of their hand. It's remarkable. That's something you can't teach. That's instinct. That's athleticism of how quick and just bursting he is. The ability to block Kevin Durant's shots or effective it. That's only because of how much they've played together. And there's only probably a couple of people who know Kevin Durant better than Russell Westbrook on the basketball court, I should say. He's seen all his moves in OKC. He knows all of it. So he knows, he's going to drive this way. He's pulling up for a mid-range shot. I'm coming, smack it from behind, right? I'm loving what I'm seeing from Russell Westbrook. And I know he had a bad game 1 shooting the ball wise, but everything else, defense, energy, initiating the offense, rebounding. And I know John said this last year. He doesn't need a guard to rebound. He sees no point in it. I think we are seeing right before our eyes that it can be very effective.
Right.
And I agree with you on that point. I can admit I was wrong agreeing with you on that point, because I think, especially the way Russell Westbrook is doing it, I mean, it's next level shit. The guy is the way he's able to time it, to see it, react, and go for it. This is something you can't teach as well. This is instinct. And Russell Westbrook is showing us right before our eyes that if you just accept a new role and you buy in, well, the sky's the limit.